Hi, it's day 8 out of the 90 days until I do the Dolby Theater. I'm so excited about that. I was just sitting here in my backyard, which I'm so thankful for, is just full of nature. My house, as I said before, is much smaller, and there's a lot more nature, a lot more just trees everywhere and just being. And every time I go into nature, an idea shows up for a video, something shows up for a great new concept or a book idea. It's amazing. And I was thinking, while I was just sitting out here, about this concept of, imagine if most people don't know this, but imagine that there's different numbers that you can live at. Like you have an elevator, almost like a vibration elevator inside of you. And let's say it goes from numbers 1 to, I don't know, really infinite, but let's just stop it at 10,000. And let's say that if you're living at 1, that means you're in a lot of resistance with yourself. You're feeling a lot more stress and anger, and see life as a much bigger struggle, a lot more addiction mentality, a lot more stress, a lot more strain, a lot more working against your heart and trying to make things happen. And imagine that the higher the number you get, the easier life gets. Like as you go up to 10 and then 20, the more you're connected to yourself, the less needy that you are, the more life starts to give you faster ideas, the more synchronistic life becomes. The easier things work, the more things seem to work together. And imagine that, you know, if you're at 10,000, that life is just suddenly flowing really easily. And imagine that society as a collective is not aware of this, because the more you become aware of this, the higher you'd want to make the number, right? But let's say society as a collective has chosen to live around a 5. You know, every time you go on an online thing, you read CNN or you go on any news source or go on a social media and you start to get your information from there, you just feel on average somewhere between 3 and 7. It's just people living around 5. And you're just collecting this vibration of life has a struggle, or, you know, this politician said this, these examples of these stressful things. And imagine that the challenge for you is that you're collecting information at that level. You might be keeping friends in your life that are a 5, or staying in a job that keeps you vibrationally at a 5, or whatever. And imagine that nature is like the elevator up button, or meditation, or creating, and being off those things. And imagine that the higher the number, the faster life moves. The more life just gives you a very gentle, effortless, easy idea, or says, let go of this thing. Or if you empty the attic, your number will go up. Or, you know, whatever. That person in your life is so loving, call them, or forgive yourself for that person. These are things that raise your numbers. And imagine that the more you spend your life on a higher number, the faster life moves. And imagine if the lower the number, the more you're not aware about the number system. So the more you just try to change life but stay on that number. So you're pushing and you're struggling and you're motivated within that vibration, but you're not letting go of the things that move you up on a higher vibration, and you're not moving into places and spaces that allow this new high you to come out. And what if the goal of life was to go to places that rise your number and then share it onto social media, instead of collecting information from social media, staying at that vibration? Because I notice that sometimes what I do is I'll experience something on social media, or I'll read something on an email or whatever, and it'll put me into a place of a 5, and then I will go sit outside for about 10 minutes and not be at my phone, and notice myself go through a few minutes of, you know, a stressful thing, or I'm thinking about something that doesn't matter or whatever, and then it drops away, and then this idea shows up and goes, what if you donate something to this? And then that, you know, moves tickets for this event, or that helps people to come, and it starts finding these effortless vibrational things. And I notice that what I do often is I post something or whatever, and then I go outside and I just collect time. I allow my emotions to fall off and to feel seen by myself and just sit, and then I notice that an idea will show up on a higher vibration, and I'll just collect it and share it with the team or share it online or whatever. This is crazy, right? So it's crazy to just think of the idea that you have a numbering system, and sometimes you're struggling against life because you're moving and doing things at like a 5 or a 6 and trying to keep yourself at a 5 or 6, like holding on to something that doesn't align with you, and then fighting to make life work while still holding on to a 5 thing. And the more you allow yourself to get away from the things that keep you at a low number, the more you'll just start to get on the elevator. And it's scary, because the part of you that lived at a 5 your whole life or a 6 at your whole life starts to feel horrified, because this feels like death. And you just stay there and watch as the life exponentially changes, because the higher up, not only the faster things happen, but exponentially and easy things happen, and the more your limitations fall off, and the more you can see possibility and world-changing things. And then you bring that to the world versus collecting the world and bringing that to you and then trying to make life work. Collect you and bring that to the world, because maybe by doing that we can raise the collective number by bringing a higher you, higher level ideas, whatever, and maybe the collective number can go up. Because the most stressful thing is to be aware that there could be a 10,000 in you and live at a 5 or a 10. The more you become aware that you could be living a more fulfilled life and stay in that, that's where massive pain comes in. This is where stress, depression, and pain shows up. It's knowing that you could be more while living at less. Some people live at that number because they don't know anymore and they're not as stressed. There's a simplicity to that. But you are watching these videos, which means you have an awareness of a higher number. And that means life is saying, go live at that number. Move from that number. Be at that number. And give other people permission to see that number, and you will start to collectively raise society's number to a higher number and help people release more and more stress and get into a higher vibration.